Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first matchup for tonight here in the CCO. I'm your host, OG Susano, joined by my co-caster, Cash. It's a great time to be here, Cash, in the LCQ now. An exciting time indeed. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Playoff time for any sport it is always the most exciting. It always brings out the most competition. So I'm really excited to kick things off with LCQ tonight.
Yo, and our first matchup for tonight, because remember, because it is the LCQ, there are matches going on instantaneously as we speak. So we're going to hop in with Roosevelt Esports from Roosevelt University versus Henderson State from Henderson State University. Quite an interesting lineup here. Let's get to our head-to-head, Cash.
Yeah, as we have a look at our head-to-head, I mean, on paper, of course, the standout squad is going to be Roosevelt Esports. They're going to finish 12-8 overall with the hardpoint win-loss of 17-15. 9-12 in the S&D, 8-6 in control. So, a pretty decent finish for the squad. They finished stage 2, 9-2, which is a really strong way to go into the postseason. And then on the other side, we've got HSU, who are 5-16 overall, 2-15 in hardpoint, 1-13 in S&D, and 1-11 in control. And for the side of Henderson State, I'm looking at them to lean into that underdog storyline. How often do you see that Cinderella upset in playoffs occur? That's exactly what I hope to see from the Reddies tonight.
Yeah, I believe it too, because here in the CCO, we've seen plenty of times Cinderella stories, upset stories, and most of all, teams that, like you said, this is playoff time. This is time for them to show up. So, despite, regardless, whatever you want to say as your word of choice here, they're going to really need to step up. And against Roosevelt, who are a team that bolsters such a high record, especially within the hardpoint 17-15, it just shows the amount of reps that these teams have. And when you only have 17 reps overall, not counting win or losses, just in total of maps, it's a bit of a difficult number to go up against. But overall, I think that none other than Henderson State are really going to need to fill in some big shoes against this team on Roosevelt.
They are going to have to, but again, I feel like in playoffs you can kind of say throw the records out the door, throw everything you know. Of course, it's nice to give the rundown of what we can look forward to, but really crazy things can go on. So as much as this looks drastic and very much favoring Roosevelt Esports, I definitely wouldn't count anyone out until the series is over.
Talking about the teams, let's head over to our home team right now on the side of Roosevelt, because we have an interesting roster here to talk about a bit. It's going to be none other than Leo, very interesting name if you ask me, Tech, Fade, and Yikes. I've seen a bit of Yikes online here. He's definitely going to be an interesting player to try and watch in this team. What do you think?
Yeah, also Leo, and Tech are two of the players that have kind of led the way for the squad night in and night out. So if Roosevelt Esports wants to continue their playoff run, not only start it, but continue it here tonight, it's going to be behind those two players. Like you said, the other two that round out the squad are also going to need to put up solid numbers. But you need your star players to really get things rolling for you in playoffs and kind of get everyone on board with you. So for Roosevelt Esports, it's going to be behind those two players for me.
Exactly so. And, well, let's talk about the other side, our underdogs on our away team, because we got to talk about Henderson State here, because these players are going to really need to bolster together like we talked about in that head-to-head, because we've got Nightbot, Michael, Gecko, and Fantix. Definitely an interesting roster indeed. What are your thoughts, Cash?
Yeah, this is a squad where all four players are going to have to, trust each other tonight and play in coordination. They've been working on things leading up to LCQ. No one wants to call this their last night of COD for the CCL season. So it's going to be an effort from all four players that needs to come through, trusting each other on rotation, making sure you're doing your job in your 1v1s and winning as many of those engagements as you can, and then just having clean comms. For Henderson State, it's not by any means impossible, and it's going to start with all four players working together.
Exactly so. All of these players are going to really need to, bolster down, sit down together, talk about it, what they're going to want to do, because we've got an interesting setup for our maps tonight. Let's go into our maps real quick, because I feel like we need to talk about this a bit, because overall, with the way that we're headed tonight, with the narrative that we see right now of a much bolstered recorded team versus a team that hasn't had the best success, I personally would have loved a much more diversified map pool, but, we start off with Hardpoint in Berlin. Then we go to Search and Destroy in Berlin. That's already 2 maps of Berlin. Then we get Triple Tuscan. controlled Tuscan, hardpoint Tuscan, and search and destroy Tuscan. If we're even guaranteed a map 4 and 5, it's going to definitely be interesting because I consider Berlin and Tuscan to be the most, set up maps where you have the classic 3-lane maps we've seen in Call of Duties in the past. But overall, I mean, I really want to hear your thoughts on this, Cash, because this is just interesting to me that when you're going up against a big team like Roosevelt, I would have thought maybe, hey, let's try to get them on every map.
That is a fair assessment to make of it. I do like how you mentioned with Berlin and Tuscan being the more standard 3-lane maps, pretty mid-sized to larger maps. I think it's good because I think for Henderson State, you make the game as easy for yourself as possible. It's not a Bocage where you're going to have 801 angles to watch, or something like Desert Siege Search and Destroy where there's so many open portions of the map. You're going to get, I guess if you want to call it, the most fair playing field, like you said, with the 3 lanes and it really being really straight up and down Call of Duty across the modes. You just got to go out and get the job done. So as it's not a super exciting map set that we have, I think it is one that's going to show, okay, who is just the fundamentally more sound Call of Duty team. I think we get that between those 2 maps tonight.
Yeah, I agree that is a fair assumption. Like I said, it's definitely one that is going to be a little bit more interesting because we have the classic 3 lanes and you can really work the basics and fundamentals to the T. And that's where it's really going to come down to. Is Roosevelt that better team, or is Henderson State just, getting outslain? And this is their time to show that they're more mechanically gifted more than, slaying in the slaying department, because right now, these 2 Berlins are definitely going to be big momentum setters for the rest of the series, because we've always seen it from the Pro League down to here in the CCL. The triple Tuscan is either your best friend or your worst nightmare, because it is just not fun. Like we talked about before, it's very mechanically gifted. You're not going to be able to pull off slays and just, abuse spawns. It's all about just getting in times, getting your timings right, getting your kills on point, and making sure that you're spawning people out where you need them to be. So as we head into this Berlin hardpoint, I'm excited to see which team is much more fundamental, which team is going to be the better slayers, and which team is going to bring in that underdog spirit here.
Most definitely, and as we kick this off, it's going to be Roosevelt Esports on the favorite side for P1. They're going to get in and start getting early time, and from the front, it's going to be Henderson State looking to break in. Player 2 is going to be watching. That's going to be Nightbot in the mid-map, looking to try to work pinch through fire and wrap around, maybe try to flip out spawns, and I don't think Roosevelt State's aware of it, so they already have 13 seconds off the clock, but Nightbot already playing spoil in the back, does get traded out.
Indeed, so you saw right there, Yikes had a great look into the side where Fantic and co were moving in through, but Fantic pulls out the Volk. Got a bit of a controversial one here as the GA committee still trying to decide where we want to put that gun. But overall, this is going to be an interesting one because, yeah, they get the most of the time on the side of Roosevelt, but the rotation is key on this map. It is abusive to say that you do not go for the rotations on the side of Henderson because you already see Roosevelt have that initial 18, but overall they still lost a bit of time on the change there. But right here, Yikes, just shooting paper bullets there.
Nightbot overlooking the mid-map, giving clearance for the squad to sit on the hill and accrue time. They have them pinned and spawning up at dockside in P4. So Henderson State, they get the good bit of scrap time and also able to break in early and extend their lead out to now over 30 points here inside of P2. Roosevelt Esports, they have to try to break in, but right now it's been Henderson State really manipulating the map better and moving around, getting map pressure, where Roosevelt Esports is just trying to flood the hill. So after this first bit of time, halfway through P2, it's going to be Henderson State in control.
Indeed, so do you see the slays coming in from Leo right now? He's just trying to fight his life to the maximum. And you're see here another contest comes in, and this is where they were messed up last time. They gave up the change or the trash time, whatever you want to call it. And right now, you already see 58-24 Roosevelt on the lower end, which is an interesting thing from considering what we saw in the records before. But like we talked about earlier, Cash, maybe Henderson are just ready to go. They're ramping up. This is their time in the LCQ. But we will have a bit of a hold from Roosevelt. Yikes pushing out towards the pillars. Going to be able to find a kill. But overall, his play here is going to help out big time as he does get taken down, though.
Nightbot opens things up for the front. Fantic able to pick the one in the back, so now Roosevelt players are going to be spawning out. It's trying to have a collapse on the hill happen for Henderson State. They are able to get in Leo, the last person left on the site, but buys just enough time for the teammates to get in. This has been a very scrappy P3 since Henderson State has tried to make the break, but really Roosevelt's been holding on to a majority of that time, brought the lead to now within 20, and once again they find themselves on the rotation. If Henderson State can continue breaking while maintaining a lead and really splitting these hills 35-25, they're finding good success. So for them, that's keeping them the lead. I'm excited to see if they maybe try to make a rotation or really just rely on these early breaks.
Indeed so, but you have Tech right now, who's currently running a route between the bottom of tickets here. He's getting some big shots. He knows where these players are, and he knows that there are players all around him, so it's just a matter of where he's going to attack. You can see he gets Michael right there, and there you go. That's a 3 down. There's only 1 player left, and it's Gecko, but he will get the spawns for the team. This is essential to try and overtake the hill. You're going to see a big play coming in from Fade, but Yikes immediately realizing, hey, spawns are coming in from the back, going to rotate around, and immediately Fade's position here is going to be what's going to hold the team together.
Gecko staying alive as long as he did there in the back, like you had said, not only secured spawns for the team to make an attempt. The greater picture than that is that they kept Roosevelt Esports from getting a clean bit of P4 time. They still have the lead. They have the potential to get the rest of this scrap time. So sure, you didn't get too much time off of it, but you kept Roosevelt from exchanging that lead. That was looking like it could have been a money hill for Roosevelt Esports. For Henderson State, you applied just enough pressure to keep them off. Again, they've had more map control. They've been in more successful positions to set themselves up for key breaks and for these attacks. And once again, mid-map control with a 2-down situation as P5 pops. They're going to be the first to cross the century mark.
Exactly, son. You got to give a big shot at Fantic. 17-8 with a minute more on the hill. The guy's been doing all the work, slaying, rotating, and holding kill. It's beautiful to see, and it's paying off oh so well against the side of Roosevelt. But right now, you see Fantic fighting for his life, waiting for his teammates to come in to help him out. He's going to notice that Leolo is going to be pushing his right, and Michael's going to trying to get a little bit mixy with them, but it's getting real scrappy. It's P5. You're expecting these types of back and forth fights. Gecko's going to hold the hill for now, but he's going to get taken down. Now, you have Roosevelt able to take the change on this hill. Michael's going to come in from the back, shoot in some shots. Not going to be able to contest it, but you will still hold the time if you are Roosevelt. This is great. As we head towards the second set of rotations, the side of Roosevelt have always been that team to get the rotations on point. So Henderson, while they are better at breaking and holding, will need to try their best here to besiege this hill as we begin second set.
And the moment it pops, they're able to go 2 for 2 in the kill feed and get control from the front. They didn't focus on the rotation out of P5. They just gave themselves the option to play off of Roosevelt's spread that they played in the back. They sat so far back for Roosevelt Esports and their spawn that they didn't have any kind of pressure beyond the hill. And once you let Henderson in, it's very hard to get them out. Now they are fighting right off of spawn, where Henderson State has controlled so much more of this site than them, getting so much more time. And I'm shocked at the scoreline we have here. I mean, 150-90. Henderson State has come out on fire. Roosevelt Esports, they've got to find a way to respond big. And really for Henderson State, it's just been behind them, getting good breaks. Really, they're playing like a true playoff team should. They're playing with nothing to lose and everything to gain, because that's exactly the position that they're in.
Exactly so. It's beautiful to see a tenacious spirit such as the side of Henderson. Roosevelt have yet to even break that 100-point threshold. We head over to P2. Nightbot has a great angle out towards the docks. Tech's going to be moving in. Great shots indeed. And Nightbot, unfortunately, will get away with his life. Tech's going to get aggressive. 16 HP in a dream. Finishes the kill, loses his life. Gecko gonna stay onto the hill. Now, look at the players from the side of Roosevelt. They're besieging the site. Each one of them going in. Fade with a 2-piece that's gonna help open up the lanes indeed. And, well, Michael's gonna push in, sees the player throwing the util. Hey, that's great. He's not gonna be able to get any sort of kills onto him. So, Roosevelt, hold the hill for now. It's 175 to 107 and climbing. But Roosevelt ultimately had the better break in this one. If I'm on the side of Henderson, hey, a loss isn't a loss here. We can rotate, get the positioning, and get ourselves ready for P3.
They flipped out about halfway through that hill, and now you see the players backing up, getting ready for P3. They didn't get a ton of this time the last go around, and now that they have spawns, I'm looking to see them secure a more significant chunk of time. But if you're Roosevelt Esports, it's your turn to break. This is actually one of the first rotations Henderson State have successfully gotten over Roosevelt Esports. So now Roosevelt being down about 50 or so points, it's their turn to see if they can break and change the tide of this game, because with an early break, they could set themselves up to nearly take the lead. They do just that in the kill feed. The collapse has to come back in from Henderson State as they're spawning out P1.
Indeed so, and you're going to see right there, Roosevelt have secured the spawns. They circumvented that power position player in the back, got through. Now are holding it down and just slaying these players as they come in rank and file. But you're going to see right now, Henderson State have gotten themselves together. There's a trio effect. One player moving around through the island, and three that are going to attack the site right off the bat. But Gecko, that island player, going to be able to help out. But Fantic and Co, they get through. They get the break for now. Fade's going to lose his life, but you can already see the rotation has come in. The spawns have been secured for Roosevelt. They need this momentum, Cash. If not, they are going to be severely hurt as we head in towards the latter end of this second set of rotations.
They will, and once again, it's Gecko in the back trying to wrap and make spawn play for the team. That ends up working out as Gecko wins the gunfight. It doesn't get them spawns, but it causes heads to turn for Roosevelt. So once again, Gecko is being a problem on this P4, forcing Roosevelt Esports to step off the time and go hunting. That allows 4 teammates to come in. For Henderson State, they have come out and really controlled the pacing of this map. Even though they've not really been successful on rotation, they have applied so much pressure as Yikes gets 3 in the feed. Talk about momentum swing, but for Henderson State, they have played with so much pressure and quick pacing that Roosevelt Esports, though they've had the rotations, really haven't been playing comfortably.
I think this is a great change in pace there for that statement, because they are playing pretty okay right now on this hill. Granted, we're going to be heading towards P5, the much more contested hill, but overall, Roosevelt got themselves into the 10-point range, where they were down by 50 earlier, Cash. So this is great to see. Now as we head towards P5, they're about to, close that gap and get themselves back up. But Fantic and Gecko, they're still holding that top third, and they're going to hop on. So this is going to be a bit of a tough one for the side of Roosevelt. You cannot allow any extra time to go into your enemy's side, because you're getting closer and closer towards that 250.
And the change in pace not only was that P4, but the slaying has stepped up for all 4 players across Roosevelt Esports. Fantic doing what he can for the Henderson State squad, but a much more balanced attack if you have a look at the other side of the scoreboard for Roosevelt. All players contributing well. Yikes with 2 minutes of hill time and also 30 and 24. So playing like an all-around player, this has gotten them back into this game, and once again, we are very close to seeing another lead change come in. Roosevelt Esports, for the first time, well, I guess second time here, taking a quick lead, and this is when you want to take a lead, right at that 200-point mark. You want to try to close it out, and once again, they have P1 rotation.
Indeed so, the P1 rotation is great because you have a player hanging out towards the outer. That's Fade. Fantic's got 4 HP. He's going to try and run away. At this point, a pebble could kill him, but he's going to get the player tech off angle. So you leave 2 players towards the hill, 1 inside, and he immediately slides in. He's going in for the kill. Yikes gets taken down. Everybody coming up to Fantic. They're like dominoes. They're getting lined up and knocked down. The Volk is a dirty gun, and in the hands of an opportunistic player like Fantic, 40 and 22 on a 4th streak. This is absolutely insane. Henderson State are now 25 points within the winning range, and Roosevelt get the break.
Roosevelt State, they can still win it on this hill, so for Henderson State, you have to at least contest another second or 2 of this time to push it to a P2 and to make the rotation. They have had better P2 holds, but you don't want to give up the rest of this time to Roosevelt Esports. They got a good break there at the end, like you said, Fantic. 41 on Berlin. How often do you see that? Not very. And now, with the ability to close it out here, Nightbot, I think, secures the rotation, or at least the forcing of a P2 with that kill, but it's Roosevelt Esports on the hill. Fantic has to go huge here for the squad.
Exactly so, and Fantic's going to try and work his magic, but it's not enough. 248, 250 for Henderson State. Lose it by the cinches of their fingers, and there you go, 229 to 250. Roosevelt towards the end, start ramping up, wake up, and absolutely come back in the rotations. Henderson State were doing great, and this is the play that I was going to mention in our post effect right here. Yikes was just starting to pull multi-kills like it was nothing, and that's really what guaranteed them this win, was them coming through, showing us, hey, Yikes is like realizing, these players are not playing together right now. I can take advantage of that. And once they started coming in rank and file, Yikes was there. He was ready for the action, and towards P4 and P5 and even P1, the guy was holding the hill to the maximum.
Yeah, Roosevelt Esports really clutched up there at the end. This is what playoffs are all about. We're only 1 map in, and we had a nail biter of a hard point to kick things off. So if that's kind of foresight into what we get to see the rest of the series, I'm more than excited. But for Henderson State, We talked about it at the top of the show. They've got to play as a four-man squad. Fantic obviously doing more than enough work to try to keep the squad in it. Just need to see a couple more players step up to help them out and give them a better chance. I think if a couple more players are slaying a little bit better, I think Henderson State take that one. It was a very close game regardless of the slaying score lines. As you had said, rotations and breaks, these are more fundamental maps that we're seeing in this set tonight. So for Henderson State, they just have to tweak up a couple of things, and yeah, they could definitely take a map.
Exactly. So I really thought Henderson State were going to win this one if it wasn't for Yikes coming through at the end. You know, Fantic, he was carrying the entire time. I believe he went over 44 kills this entirety of this map. He was doing essential work for the team. Not only was he slaying out and holding down the OBJ, he was on breaking the hills and even getting towards spawns. So Henderson State have a great player in the likes of Fantic, who is showing up tonight, and like you said, there's nothing to lose, only to gain here. So Fantic's, this is his last dance essentially for the year, so he wants to make sure that they're going out with a bang and making that every play matters the most. And the way that he was moving around the Volk, it reminded me of the players that we've seen here in the CCL and within the top 25 who know how to use that medium to close range effectiveness to the T, because he wasn't taking any long chows like an automaton would. He was more or less just getting up close, up in your face, just enough to singe your eyebrows and making sure that you felt his presence with that Volk.
I think presence and the way you shaped that is the best way to put how Henderson State played that first map. They kept it close. They were always within striking distance, not only of extending the lead, but whenever the lead changed, they kept themselves close enough to take it back. But really, whenever you commented on Yikes popping that three-piece in P4, that was the momentum shift for Roosevelt Esports. Not only were they accruing a great bit of time that was behind players stepping up in the slaying for the team. So that P4 is the real standout moment of when Roosevelt Esports kind of turned things up to 10 and decided to close that map out for Henderson State. When a player or a team gets rolling like that, it can be hard to stop, but they fought till the very end.
Yeah, and I want to like mention what you said before as we were heading into that P4. You were saying, "Hey, Roosevelt are not playing comfortable." You can tell the awkwardness and the complexity of the team. You know, they weren't playing together essentially. They were not, you know, executing on the basics of Call of Duty. They were not doing what is known to get you success on the map. So that P4 really was that change. So I like how you highlighted that. But now as we hop in towards another Berlin here, but search and destroy, positioning is going to be everything. And now that Roosevelt feels a little bit more comfortable as a team and they know how they exist within each other's chemistry, this is going to be an interesting one, because Henderson probably felt like that was stolen from them. So they're going to be red hot, and Roosevelt's going to feel a lot more comfortable. So a red hot versus more comfortable team, this is exactly what we want to see in the LCQ. Teams that are much more fired up and ready to go.
This is what makes a postseason matchup so great. Henderson State have a great opportunity to respond here, like you said, from a map one that they probably feel was stolen from them. They had to lead the whole game right up until the very end, so they're going to try to make the adjustments this go around on Berlin to secure the W. Roosevelt Esports are going to kick things off on offense. They're going to be looking to go towards this B site, but as Nightbot gets first blood, that definitely opens up this bottom lane of the map for these players from A to rotate through. And again, wonderful map positioning from Henderson State as they've already cleared out majority of the map.
Exactly so, and they're going to even get this bomb plant down free of charge, no lives lost. Nightbot's going to be hanging out towards the port. He knows that, hey, I've got teammates converging in from the side of the train yards, and Gecko's watching in from this hill, and you're going to see right here, Fade almost gets away with his life, but Tech finds out that, hey, we're getting converged on. Tech's going to get some shots in from him. He's going to try and stay up, and now Yikes with the rat in hand looks into the back and shoots him Julius Caesar style, and Roosevelt take the first round.
Roosevelt did a great job there. As you said, Henderson State were converging on the site. Tech finding a kill on the bomb site was huge because that kept it in a 1v2 situation, and the player there for the final kill that was able to shoot Michael in the back was just a wonderful way to reposition. They didn't get a great post-plant setup because Henderson State had already cleared out P4 in the bottom side of the map, but they made the most of what they had, and that was, you know, instant chows in the site, and they won them. So good for Roosevelt Esports to come out and respond big on an offense. Fade getting a good bit of information here with the sniper.
Indeed so, and That's at the end of the day what you want from your snipers. You want them to get this information. Leo's going to pull out the STG. Fortunately gets one, but loses his life. So you get your one at the end of the day. Now it's a 3v3. Bomb is down. You're going to hear the announcer declare that the bomb has been picked up. So Michael's position is also compromised. They know that they're going for B. This is going to be a fast push indeed, and Fate's just waiting for reinforcements. And at this point, if you're not seeing any reinforcements, you can definitely converge on the side, because every player from the side of Henderson are more or less watching lanes than they are watching the bomb.
I love the position Fantix in, knows that this player is coming to the back, snaps and gets the kill, just shooting laser beams, still continuing where he left off in the respawn, now working a pinch on the site. So with 25 seconds left, Henderson State in a great position to converge here and stop these players from defusing the bomb. The pinch plays coming in, Nightbot finds a kill, now in quite the pickle is Yikes. And with no time left to defuse the bomb without finding these kills, that is going to be the round. Roosevelt State, they come out and answer with a good have a good offense. Henderson State find a way to reply on this beam bomb site.
Indeed so, and you saw Nightbot's position in the back. At this point, you know, it is very typical to see an AR hanging out towards the back of the train yard. So you really need to send somebody to go through the back. But the thing is, Cash, they did send somebody through the back. Unfortunately, they were found out and taken down. So you lost that player who was going to, you know, circumvent that power position. And now you know that, hey, these guys are going to be playing to, you know, typical spots. So we can definitely have that within our mind as we head into this next attack.
Still going to be a 2-2 split for Henderson State on defense. Once again, going to be a 3-1 hit on the B site for Roosevelt Esports. This time around, they get the first blood. Leo trying to go for the second and does. That is clearance on this site. Now Henderson State, in the same fashion they did the last go round, both A players wrapping through P4, trying to get information. Yikes is going to get it. Was on 3, gets dropped by Gecko, but now they should know. You see the arrows turning. They're coming from this side of the map. All 3 players in a post-plant setup, untraditional to how B usually rolls, but one that could work out for them nonetheless. With 30 seconds left and having to find 3 kills, Henderson State is quickly running out of time.
Indeed, so they are, and well, Tech's going to be the last one alive. He's got 20 seconds to take out 2 players and defend the bomb, but he's going to get Gecko off of that kill, and there you go, the slides coming in, and Roosevelt take another round. That was a bit of a scary one indeed, but overall, Roosevelt's team had a much more calm, cool, and collected demeanor. Michael comes in aggressively, and Tech, well, you're moving into the Hornets box there. You're going to lose your life or you're going to get stung.
Tech has been owning the B-bomb site on the offensive rounds. It is so hard to get him killed out of there, sitting at 4-1. A situation for Henderson State they could have capitalized on and taken the win. They made it more interesting, and for Roosevelt, like you had said, made it a little bit dicier than it needed to be. But this has been all offensive rounds to start, and Henderson State, they're doing the same thing, going over this B site. Roosevelt, they send 3, but given this information, we're already starting to see a couple rotate back over.
Indeed, so it's a 3v4 opening kill from Michael onto Leo. Now the rotation comes in from Roosevelt, but a minute or a moment too late. Bomb is going to be down. You have Gecko playing in with the Volk in the close corners. Fantix even watching the lane, and he sees Yikes. Unfortunately, does some preemptive shots. Not going to be able to tag him up, but now there's been a position given. Nightbot even notices the player Tech within the broken building. So Michael's going to go up again, take out Yikes. Now it's a 2v4. Attack being a much more comfortable, you know, mode here for this map because of how easy you can acquire B. But you're gonna see Fade going in, looks for the one, but unfortunately does not ready for Gecko's close quarter chow.
As you said, B being the more comfortable offensive site, therefore you see more offensive round wins on Berlin. For either squad here to take a defense, I mean, we've seen a little bit of everything. Even the squad that has gotten the first blood, hasn't been able to win the round. We saw Henderson State get the first blood in round 1, lost that defensive round. So I guess just more presence on the sites quicker. And now you're going to try to hard read. If you're Henderson State, this honestly is the round that's in most question where you're like, what are they going to do? Of course, now they're going to send 3 over towards this B site and just 1 towards A. This is when Roosevelt pulls the change up, and they're going to try to bully out this site quickly and get it down. So you knew the change and was coming. It actually ends up being Henderson State who's ready for it.
Exactly so, and well, Michael's going to get caught to a prone block there. Fanta's going to find the player trying to plan, and well, there you go. Henderson State now win that defense what looked like was a change up for Roosevelt ended up being much more beneficial to the side of Henderson State. You saw right there, Tech tried to go for an outer play, but Nightball was still hanging out towards that top broken there into the middle of fire. And when you're in AR in a very, very comfortable spot like that, you have so many lanes that you can use and get in with. So
Hmm.
Roosevelt unfortunately lose that round, and now Henderson are up. So this is going to be an interesting play as now they're on the attack, and well, it looks like they're going to go for a change up here too on A.
A somewhat 2-2 split. This is really how Henderson had broken off on their defense. It allowed them to pick these players off mid-map, and it's Roosevelt Esports opening up the same way. They know that this A hit is on, but look at Leo all the way through the back, snuck behind Nightbot, and now can blow this entire play up.
Oh my goodness, he even has the MP40 with tracers. I believe that is GA'd, but hey, I'm not the one who's enforcing GAs here. We're going to see if this is going to play an effect at all, but they are up 3-2. 55 seconds left on the bomb counter for them. And, well, you know, tracers, not very tactical here. Cass, that's going to give away his position, but Yikes is going to be able to move in, take advantage of that misdirection. Nightbot being the one player left here. It's a 1v3, very unlikely, but Fade, unfortunately, neither player sees each other, but Nightbot will be able to spot the gun, and he still loses his life.
Oh, we've really seen it all here on this S&D. That was through 6 rounds. Offensive wins, defensive winning back to back. Maybe we see an offense go back and take a win here, but it's been 2 defensive rounds back to back, and I'm gonna say that that's because teams are trying out the A site and just unfortunately not able to get the same kind of clearance and control that they do on the other side of the map to get the bomb down. Neither team has been able to successfully get the bomb down on offense. Roosevelt Esports, once again, trying to give this A site another look. And Henderson State, well, they're rolling with. There's no way they try that again. We're going to go B.
Exactly. So you see more players hanging out towards there, and Michael's going to get some shots towards him, but not going to be able to tag him. Yikes has now given up their play. You do see, though, Tech is making his way all the way through backfire. He gets that first player. Now you've got the distraction and you're just running into where all these players are. Gecko gets a 2-piece, and now Michael's going to stay here on the side, and Tech loses his life as well. It's a 1v2, and Fade is your last man here for the side of Roosevelt.
Fade also has to get the bomb retrieved off of this site. I'd have to guess Henderson State is aware of the fact that bomb is down, but player 5 and Michael going to back up and group up with Nightbot here. 37 seconds left. Fade still has a lot of time to work with, but the punching of the glass and the shooting of the auto are more than going to give away his position. He's able to find one. Is he going to be ready for the quick second chow? I'm not sure, and the answer is no. Henderson State, they respond big on a defensive round clutch up in the 1v2.
Indeed so, and there you go, Henderson now 4-3. There's not going to be any sort of a dagger round here, but overall what we've seen from these players, Cash, is that they're very opportunistic. They know when to play, and unfortunately, Roosevelt, they had a great site access to that A, but got a little overzealous and threw their lives away. You saw Gecko take advantage of 2 players from the side of Roosevelt. And now as we hop in towards this next round, Roosevelt are going to be on the defense, and we see another play towards A. I think the first 6 rounds were more or less the B saga. Now we're on the A chapter here in this arc of the S&D, and well, Fade's going to get a great kill towards Broken onto Michael.
It's been all defenses, so if I'm Roosevelt, I'm happy with the play Henderson State is trying to make. This is the closest we've seen to getting the bomb down. Tech is not going to sniff it out, so for the first time, a successful A plant will come in, and Gecko will get out with his life. And now seeing other players trying to finesse and dance around, but a pinch coming in on the site. That's going to be 2 more down. All 4 players stay up for Roosevelt. They collapse once again. Defense reigns true on offense. So if I'm Henderson State, man, I hope they go A. But if I'm Roosevelt, I'm thinking B is the only play left to really give yourself a match point lead.
And that's the bottom line at the end of the day is just B is that much easier site that you, like you said earlier, that you can just take control of post plant. You can't really do that with A. There are way too many points of access, points of entry that, hey, if you're at Henderson State and you're on the defense there, you can just hold one area or even hang out towards back alley, peek in, get the kill off bomb, and now you've got bomb stuck in an area where there's so many entry points that it's just not feasible. So you're immediately going to see a fast B push here from both sides, but it looks as though that Roosevelt realized, hey, the aggression is now here. We can rotate.
They have the chance to get Michael off site and get this bomb planted quickly. Henderson State are really playing quite slow around this B site, but given these gunfights opening things up quickly, it's going to be the readies on rotation here. No bomb down, but Fade getting the first blood. If they don't get this bomb down quickly, this is where teams have run into trouble on offense. They give up their site control, and just like that, Henderson State open up with 2 kills, put it in a 2v3 situation, make that a 1v3, and Roosevelt Esports and another offensive round blown up.
Exactly. So the idleness from the side of Roosevelt did not take advantage of the opportunity that they had found, by the way. It was definitely found out, hey, we've got the aggression here at B. We can play towards A, but it looks as though that, it was a moment too late, and Michael was able to get the rotation. And there you go. Henderson State now get themselves to that match point, able to possibly take this search and destroy within this next round. But overall, it's just been very difficult for the side of Roosevelt. They've been collapsing on opportunities that they make for themselves, which is very tough to see.
That, and even in a more simpler way to put it, go back to B. I don't know why on offense teams have been trying to force it into the A site. The first half of this S&D, like you said, that was the B saga. Now we're in the A saga, and well, it's been all defense since we've been in the A saga. Henderson State saying, hey, we're not going to play around. We're going to try to close this out. They quickly try to rotate over this B site, get the first blood, and if they can get this bomb down quickly, I would like to think that they win this round because, well, that's just been the meta of this map too so far.
Exactly. So we make a return to the B saga here, and well, they're going to be able to get that bomb down now. Gecko's going to be hanging out within that little pill box, but Michael's going to be able to get the kill towards the player off of the island. Fade finds one too. It's a 2v2 now as Fantic picks up the kill. This is a very dangerous spot for Gecko, and unfortunately, he's going to get some opening shots on him. He's not going to be the one with the most HP, but Yikes is choking the shots right now, and well, he's going to get rotated on, and Fantic's the last man alive, so Tech knows where this player's at, and he even sees him off angle, and he gets the kill. Now we're going to a round 11.
Tech with a wonderful route instead of running in the front door of the B site as the last player for Henderson State was expecting. He runs around the back and again, like you said, gets wonderful information, gets the off angle and gets the kill. That's the heads up play that you need teams to make. If you want to send yourself to round 11, you've got to make the less predictable play. That's exactly the route Tech ran. Knew he had time to work with, got the bomb defused, forced us to a round 11. Great heads up play from Tech and the Roosevelt Esports squad.
Yeah, now we're at this point of around 11, Cass, where it's, do you go and try for A? Do you stick with over-reliable at B? Or do you just play, default and try to get some kills here? But it looks as though we're going to be getting a play towards B. All the players from the side of Roosevelt, except for Leo, are going to hang out towards A, or actually towards B. But you do see the aggression was met with a stiff and fierce play from Leo as he gets the opening kill. He knows where Nightbot is and even gets him with the second kill. There you go. That's going to be insane to see because now you've got a 4v2 and, well, these players are going to get stuck towards the back. Fade gets one, and now the last player is going to be Fantic, but Fantic has been known to pop off in these type of situations.
If there's anyone I want left in the clutch in around 11, it would be Fantic, but a 1v4 with the bomb down the mid-map and only 40 seconds to work with. Big plays have to happen. Once again, if there's a player that can do it, it is going to be Fantic, and this A site could be the more preferential one, but Fantic, knowing the post-plant setup being a bit more powerful over here, has a couple players to clear out, going to try to get Leo, and is unable to. Roosevelt Esports down 5-4 when 2 straight defenses to take that one. Now find themselves up 2-0 in the series. This is, again, in the late game. Roosevelt Esports, they're coming up with big-time clutch plays to close out these series in the tail end of them.
Indeed, so it's really these last-minute clutch ups that they're doing, and you look at the stats on the side of Henderson, each one of them were playing, close to the chest there. They were doing really well. They were all within that 7 to 10 range in the kills, and each one of them was, fighting for positioning on the map, and that's what it came down to at the end of the day, was that positioning and overall just negligence of, aggression. And, it is going to be interesting because, it has been confirmed by Son of Paint that tracers are not allowed. So there could be a possible review here for this map. So we're going to definitely have to see what's going to happen there. But overall, Henderson State, within these last moments, every map cache has lost it. And, we talked about it before. This is the time to show up, and Henderson State are definitely showing up right now. I mean, they're really doing what they can. It's just coming down to the last minutes.
Yeah, for Henderson State, again, I want to go back to the top of show where, we go over the head-to-head, and you look at a squad like Henderson State and think like, whatever, this is what it is. These score lines have been so close, and if I'm Henderson State, I mean, first of all, let's just, it's just a celebration worthy that it's both of these squads' first time on broadcast, and that's really exciting in and of itself. But for Henderson State, again, your backs are against the wall. You've only won 4 maps this season. A lot of people would look at that and say, like, well, whatever, like, Roosevelt Esports, you could walk and be like, oh, dismiss them, whatever. These scorelines have been so close for Henderson State. Again, in this swing mode, of course, they have to win it to push us to a Game 5, but they can just get the ball rolling here. It's been such close moments in the late game clutch up that they just need to capitalize on. If they can do that, they can change the tides of this series. They've had Roosevelt Esports on the ropes this whole time, but unfortunately find themselves down 0-2.
Indeed so. And, well, as we get ready for our set of Tuscans as we head towards our map 3, which is going to be Tuscan Control, we'll be taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere. We've got map 3 going to be coming up here pretty soon. We'll see you in just a bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Map 3 now on board. Roosevelt Esports versus Henderson State. Me and Catch have been having a lot of fun here covering these last 2 maps. It's been really great. We've seen both teams really come through, show us their passion, the wearing their hearts on their sleeves. And really, at the end of the day, this makes me happy as a caster, as a former competitor, because I know that both of these teams are trying their hardest here. They're doing everything they can to just show up in this LCQ.
They are, and it's not perfect Call of Duty by any stretch. I mean, you see 2-0 in the series scoreline, and if you're just tuning in, you could be like, well, this is a blowout bloodbath. But, I mean, the hard point was within 25, 30 points, and the S&D went to around 11. So, by no means is Roosevelt Esports playing perfect Call of Duty. But they are closing out at the end and clutching up where it matters most. Henderson State has started very well. The S&D did go kind of round for round there. They got a round lead at one point in time, but Roosevelt Esports won 2 back-to-back to close that one out in a round 11 fashion. So, again, like I was saying, it hasn't been perfect Call of Duty from Roosevelt Esports. They've just done what's necessary towards the tail end of both of these maps. For Henderson State, we thought they were coming into the Search and Destroy feeling mad that the hard point was taken from them, and now you've got to feel like the S&D's the same way. There's a fine line you walk, and as you said, having been a competitor and stuff, there's a fine line you walk of being frustrated and it ends up chalking your mental, and being frustrated that it drives you to want to do better. I think the Henderson State squad's kind of walking that line, because if I'm them, I'm a little tilted at how these last couple of maps have ended, but you've got to have the mentality to try to turn it around.
Exactly so, and with it being triple Tuscan, potentially, I do have to put my hands up and say potentially, because we are, we're map for map now with Henderson. Roosevelt have taken the last 2, so at any point, Roosevelt can just end the series now with a 3-0. It's a possibility. Call me Dr. Strange. I'm looking into all these timelines right now. Or we could possibly see Henderson State here just be that more, basic and fundamentally gifted team and just take these next 3 maps in a row. Or Roosevelt are going to take it over right now. But let's hop in as we, talking about Tuscan. Let's hop in now with this Tuscan Control. We've seen a lot of teams just lose their mental, like you said, Cash, or we're about to see the biggest turn up of all time.
And there's really no way you can call it. I know that sounds silly saying, well, we haven't even seen it yet. How could you call it? But again, I can't stress enough for me personally how much I love playoffs, because it can just, when teams' backs are against the wall, I mean, for Henderson State, this is win or go home. And you know that they don't want to close it out here in 3. They want to try to extend this map by map. They've just got to focus on not only one map, but one round at a time. And again, it's do or die. It's put up or shut up. Henderson State, they have to find a way to come up big here and respond with a map win against the Roosevelt Esports squad that has shown the clutch up gene and the ability to close out maps.
Indeed so. You're going to see right here a quick play towards A. Being the much more comfortable spot, you will get that first tick. Michael's going to get some help from Fantic, and there you go. The teamwork with the help of Fantic's kills. 3-piece, my goodness, they even get the second tick, so that's going to grant them this A zone very fast. Now they've got 2 minutes and 21 seconds with 29 lives overall. Roosevelt, while B is the much more comfortable position here, you definitely do need to recognize, hey, we lost that real quick, like way too quick.
They did. They won the battle in the mid-map off the opening break, but once they chowed Henderson State's it was like you had said, Fantic, who went to take over and didn't let them get on the site to get them off. It was a 3-stack, a clean bit of time, and with just under 2 minutes to work with, Henderson State have had a great opening break to kick things off. Fantic falls off his 4th streak, but now trying to work the mid-map is Henderson State, and they're just going to be looking for an opening to get this started up 1 life.
Indeed. So now there's been quite a bit of trade-offs. We haven't seen any movement towards B really been successful just yet, but you will have Fade. He's stopping these players from getting through to radio. Now you have everybody from their side of Roosevelt watching an area. It's time to clock in here, gentlemen. This is not the time to be lazy and shirk your work, but hey, Fantic and Nightbot working together as a tandem duo here, making an tandem. Oh, but Yikes gonna come in from the back, immediately picks up the trade, but at this point, everybody from Henderson are just waiting for each other. They do not want to get overzealous. The only players that have been losing their lives have been players who have been setting up and getting ready for the deep pushes.
Gecko finds a huge kill in the back. Just like we saw in the Berlin hardpoint, Gecko playing his life in the back of the spawn and finding 3 kills. Just gives his teammates time. Unfortunately, they're falling at the front of the hill, but this church lane has now opened up a bit. Gecko does fall, and Yikes is able to clean up the last player there. So what was an opening was not capitalized on in a timely fashion for Henderson State. Roosevelt, they've held on thus far. Down still 3 lives. Have to make a stand in 34 seconds left. Henderson State, they've got 1 or 2 more pushes, depending on how quickly they try to get across Plat and P5 here.
Indeed so, and Fade and Tech, they're going to push forward aggressively. This is the play to make. You want to make sure that you stop them, waste as much time as possible. Michael's going to give his position known to Tech. Tech's going to be able to relay that towards his team. Leo and Co, well, they're waiting for these players to attack the site. You're going to see the contest come in. Fantic now exposes himself, and all these players, instead of pushing through the lateral lane that has been through radio, now pushing through church, and it has been much more successful from what they've seen last time. Tech, though, flies onto the side, pulls a Superman, gets the 2-piece, but right now, Fade immediately helps out, and so you lose your lives. There's only 1 player left to a challenge, and that's Nightbot, loses his life. So Henderson State, they immediately, capture A, but lose B very fast in the time. But Roosevelt, they hold down, and they do not let that time intimidate them.
How quickly they had lost that first site. Like you said, they hold true, do what they need to do to get the win. Not only that, they stop them from getting a ticket progression at B, but they also draw the lives back to even. At the most, it had been 3 or 4 lives, but every life matters in Control, especially in the postseason. So you don't let them get a take at B, and you even up lives. A great defensive finish once again for Roosevelt, given how the map started. Can they replicate that on offense, and can they find a way to close out?
And the most interesting thing, I think, right there about Yikes' play is that he saw Gecko run through the back. Did he share that information? Maybe, but he was looking there, ready to go, but Tech is gonna, compensate for his teammates' failures with the slaying. Gets a 4-piece right there. Unfortunately, loses his life towards the end. Fade and Co, they get a chance to breathe. They can get back towards the sites, and, well, it's the slaying game for the side of Roosevelt. They are able to capture the 2 ticks onto A, but the great thing about this team is that, hey, we're not gonna wait and let this team set up here for when we capture A. So we're gonna get aggressive, get towards B, and, well, you have Tech and Leo running the interference, and this is a great play overall.
Yikes securing the rest of A, while the rest of the squad, as you had said, are trying to make work and clear a lane out for the B site. Fade has a huge responsibility here on Plat and L, just to run around, get progression where he can, but also play his life until teammates find another opening. Fade just trying to work the kills here, ends up getting picked by Gecko. The rest of the squad, Leo and Co, trying to make it happen around the back. A pinch coming in. Yikes is unable to win that gunfight, but still, this lane open here as players sneak past Nightbot, trying to work through alley.
Indeed, so the alley play being a big one. 10 and 19 in terms of the lives. That's a 9 differential right there. 137 in terms of the seconds. Tech's going to move in through the back, and, well, that's a great play. They get aggressive. They're still just denying lives. By the way, guys, we're still at a 3-3 tick advantage right now. So, unless Roosevelt are just going to be undeniable and win these next rounds in the row, we do need to worry about that round 5 in potential. But Fantic's going to deny these players, gets a 2-piece right there. It's 8 and 14, just 6 lives off. This is not too much to worry about. There's still a minute overall. Roosevelt have plenty of time to get onto the hill and make something happen here, or just play the slaying game.
they've given themselves enough time to get a drastic enough life advantage to where, yeah, they have a minute left and they could very well play TDM. You know, they'd like to get at least take a progression because, well, if the ticks stay even, that's not going to do much for round 5 if you're up lives. They're going to try to find a lane to get through and get onto the site, but 3 go down. That brings the lives back to 2. Roosevelt Esports, they have just 1 or 2 more hits at this. Player 5 and Leo up in church, just trying to wait for the teammates to get kills in P5 and push through. Pinch play coming from Catwalk now.
Well, you are going to see right there, Yikes, unfortunately, well, actually, he did get the kill. It was a bit of a team kill coming in from the side of Henderson. Now it's 5 and 6 right now. Yikes going to look towards the back, and that's a big kill. He wins onto Fantic. Nobody's going to be towards the back line, but you still have the players within the middle. Now it's a 4-4. 15 seconds left. Fade goes for some pre-fire shots, and unfortunately, he's going to get a bit shotsy with it, lose that one to the movement, and now you lose lives 2-2. 5 seconds left. Leo's going to get the close quarter. Now it's a 1v1. He's got to hop on. And he gets Michael! Oh, and a decisive 1v1. Roosevelt take that second round when it was a close game.
Wow. Roosevelt Esports. It's I mean, I myself haven't, you know, seen anything, at least as far as this consistent goes. Now, whether this is good or bad, that's up for the viewer to decide. But the way Roosevelt Esports have this entire series clutched up at the end, I'm talking the last 2 rounds, the last 30 points of a hard point, the last 5 seconds of a control, they have found a way to just weasel and finesse kills to get the job done. They find themselves up 2-0 in the control on a defense. They could very well close this out here. Again, it's not the most impressive or flashy COD in the world, but it's getting the job done, and that's really all you need, especially in LCQ.
Exactly so. You see the fight here towards a bit more of a pushback now coming in from Roosevelt, but you will see the same results. Michaels and Nightbot getting the big plays there. They even get towards the second tick, and well, Fantic's going to be getting aggressive here in just a second. You notice that these players are going to lose their lives from the side of Roosevelt. Not too worried. We've been in this situation before. We know the exact results. We know the exponents that we need to work with, so it's just about putting it into practice again. 26-20 is our life count heading into this second half of this round, and we've got 2 minutes and 10 overall.
Defense get clearance and now look to press up in their power positions for Tuscan defense, finding kills still in and around Catwalk, cutting these players off for Henderson State where they're trying to find a lane. Roosevelt Esports is there to close the door. Live still ahead for Henderson State, which is a good thing, but again, no one has been able to successfully get a take of progression at B, and if Henderson State can start here, that definitely would help, but Roosevelt Esports, they're just a bit too quick and moving a bit too loose around the map so far.
Indeed so, and well, you're going to have a big fight here towards the church here potentially, but you will need to wait for these players, and well, Tech's going to wait for them. He's like a snake. He waits for the right timing, gets it done. Yikes is on a 5 spree off screen right now, but he's going to lose his life to Michael, Caster Cursed, whatever you want to call it. It's a minute 12 overall, and Roosevelt still have a great hold on to this hill. Henderson, while they are barely down by a teensy bit in terms of the lives, will need to definitely work together for this last minute.
A reverse sweep in the control, leading to a potential reverse sweep in the series. Henderson State have to put up the greatest comeback to kick off last chance qualifier playoffs here at Roosevelt Esports. They want to put the nail in the coffin and call this one done and advance into round number 2. Look at how far up the map they're pressed, trying to kill these players off spawn. Everyone funneling through P5. The call out comes in. The kill feed starts to go green, and with 35 seconds left and only 9 lives, it's going to be that much harder for Henderson State to try to get anything done. Roosevelt Esports, they are holding on.
Yeah, they're holding on indeed, but Leo's going to try and do his best, but it's the man himself, Fantic, who's getting aggressive. Tech, though, finds 2 players off angle. That's going to be a big one. There you go. Yikes putting down the spray cans on victory. There comes a glide bomb from Gecko, but no players are even close enough to take advantage of that opportunity. But you do see all these players making a long flank to try and get one last opportunity in. It's going to be Tech, though, who's going to be able to find these players. The contest comes in for the site. Nightbot's on, but he's by himself. He's going to lose his life, and there you go. Henderson State only have 1 player left, and it's Michael, but Michael gets it through. He's going to get some shots on him, but he loses his life to the beatdown, Rocky Balboa style. Roosevelt take it 3-0 and 3-0 in the series.
Probably the cleanest mode we had seen from Roosevelt. They, I believe, are 8-6 in control, and for a reason, they really, show dominance throughout the control. Leo having a slightly slower map and mode, but Tech playing strong overall. We kick off playoffs with a 3-0, a close 3-0 up until the
Oh yeah.
control for Henderson Esports, of course. Congratulations on the season. I mean, it's still just exciting to, whether it's one playoff game or 10, it's exciting to be here. And so we were glad, of course, to cast over this game between these two squads for Roosevelt Esports. Congratulations, but the job isn't done. You still have waves to make if you want to try to advance in playoffs. And a 3-0 is a way to do it, but they definitely can go to the drawing board and work on some things going forward.
Indeed, so there's quite a bit to work on indeed, but we actually have Trojan Esports versus Shawnee State Bears. That is the matchup confirmed for this next one. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we told you these matches are going on back to back to back right now, instantaneously. So we didn't know who we were going to get really for this next matchup. So now we know it's Shawnee State coming here to try and, keep themselves alive in the LCQ. But overall, it's been pretty good. We're going to be staying here on the cast, me and Cash, for this second matchup. So, I know you enjoyed our beautiful faces and voices. Come on. It's the CCL. We've got the best talent in the world. But we'll go to a quick break, and we'll see you in just a bit.